going on YouTube? Cloverbells here, back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today we are going to be spotlighting Grassy Seed Volcarona, right? So hopefully you've been enjoying the release of Legend ZA. I know many have. It looks like a relatively fun game, right? With the new battle mechanics and the return of megas and whatnot. And we'll get our hands on that relatively shortly. We've just been a little bit busy. But I still wanted to put out a couple of Regulation H videos, especially this one in particular, because I think with the rise of Grassy Seed Volcarona balance, if you want to call it like that, I think this is going to pick up even more, especially as we head closer into the EU regionals coming up, as well as, of course, Las Vegas in mid-November, right? So there's a few ways to approach this, but we very much believe in the Grassy Seed concept with Volcarona. We've seen Grassy Seed Sneasler. Now we're going to put the Grassy Seed on a special attacker, and in this case it is Volcarona. So you've already got Quiver Dance, right? Which means you're going to boost up your special attacks, SPDF, and your speed, right? But your physical defense is still lacking. Well, that's okay, because now we have the Grassy Seed, right? And now we bring out Rillaboom here, and now all of a sudden our physical bulk is looking a lot better. And then we can even add Intimidate support from something like Incineroar, as well as screen support from something like an Alolan Ninetales, which is what the idea is going to lead into. Now all of a sudden you got all these buffs behind screens, and Volcarona all of a sudden becomes relatively hard to break, right? Especially when you have fake outs coming in and out, and making sure that your opponent's slots are limited in terms of which Pokemon can deal damage. One Pokemon dealing damage versus two is a huge difference. And of course, because you have a spread move here with Heat Wave, you could just sweep the other team if you could even get two of these off, right? Ideally, we've seen, of course, Terra Fairy here with Terra Blast. This is great against, like, Scale Shot Dragonite, and you're able to put pressure on it right back. So this is also pretty solid. And then, of course, this is just usually Protect here. But we've seen a few ideas behind this besides just, partnering with the Rillaboom here. And we're going to go over some of those ideas, and then we'll build one of these squads. So this way, we can put out something and you guys can test it out yourselves. But where do we go from here? So just in terms of what people have done before, all right, if you peaked Victory Road, there is another archetype there where you have Incineroar, Rillaboom, and the Volcarona together, right? And this is going to be the core of your team, because now you have fake out pressure from both Rillaboom and Incineroar. And then, of course, you have the pivoting potential and more mitigation coming from the parting shot, right? So now you're just reducing damage across the board. And let me add the Alolan Ninetales while we're at it. So you're reducing damage across the board, which means now you're cycling, and now Volcarona has the space it needs to set up the Quiver Dance, right? So this is, again, with the Ninetales, you're going to get yourself weather control here with your Aurora Veil. Then you can still have your own spread move with something like Blizzard, for example. And if you want, you can also add Icy Wind here. You can add Encore, disable stuff. However you want to play the Ninetales is up to you. But the point is, at the very least, we have the screens and the fake out pressure. So this way we can create the Volcarona Quiver Dance. Then after this, then we go with the Blood Moon Ursaluna. Okay, and the popular set right now, and it's still going to rise even more, is this Terra Electric set. Where are you, Electric? With the Yawn Pressure along with Leftovers, right? So now with the Leftovers and the Grassy Terrain from the Rillaboom, now all of a sudden the Ursaluna is going for Yawns. And now what happens now is the opponent has to make a choice, because if you stay in, you're going to go to sleep, and that's just more setup ideas for Volcarona. And if you switch out, that's still going to give you space for Quiver Dance, because the turn that you switch out, no damage is being dealt, or reduced damage is being dealt, because of the other slots still staying in. And then, again, more space to click Quiver Dance and then potentially sweep them the next turn, right? So what does that switch really do for them, right? So then after this, then we can get a little bit more physical damage presence on the team. We've seen something like Sneasler before, but with this idea, okay, this was like the Grassy Seed set, and then this Volcarona was like a Covert Cloak. But now what we're doing is we're flipping the items on these. So now it doesn't necessarily need said Sneasler. Now we can opt for something else in this last slot over here. So we still need like a water damage presence, right? So something like Basculegion is the popular idea to slap onto this, right? So when you have the Basculegion, you can have the Choice Scarf here, And now all of a sudden you also have adaptability. So you have the damage and the speed on your side. You got a nice little fire water grass core going for you. And again, you have more pivot potential with the flip turn here. So you could just easily reposition your board when you're going for these parting shots and flip turns. You're getting damage chip, right? You're putting things in range. So this way Volcarona, after 1 or 2 setups, can just sweep the other team in one go with either Heat Wave or the Terra Blast Terra Fairy, right? So this could even be your other win condition where you can just deal a bunch of early to mid-game damage with the Volcarona and let the Basculegion clean up in the end game with stuff like, you know, last respects after your allies have fallen, or just like these hard-hitting wave crashes, you know, with the Terra Water. Okay, so this could be other wins, but again, these 4 right here, they're meant to support the Volcarona, all right? And then the Basculegion, same thing. You're meant to like make some trades, you know, take out something with wave crashes. So this way, Volcarona has less threats to worry about, you know, in that sense, right? So this could be your early game threat as well, or also your late game cleaner at the same time. So this is like one idea, right? Then if we look at another idea, if we take a look at Belo Horizonte, right, which we still have to cover relatively shortly, but there were a couple of other ideas that you could use with the Grassy Seed Rillaboom here. So let me show you that because there are a couple of interesting teams. So Gabriel Agati brought this team to Belo Horizonte, right? He still had the Volcarona, the Incineroar, and the Rillaboom, okay? That much hasn't really changed, all right? But then he decided to take a different turn here and go for another grass type with the Amoonguss. So we got the double fire, double grass type core with Incineroars and Amoonguss, right? Incin, Rillaboom, and Amoonguss. So you got double fake out and redirection here, and you also get your Trick Room matchup with the Amoonguss here. But again, we're still just creating ways to enable the Volcarona. We need that space, right? Then after this, we're going with the King Gambit here. So now all of a sudden you get a little bit better of a side spam matchup. You get a little bit more priority on your side. And this could be the win condition, right? With the Swords Dance Black Glasses idea. We've seen this before, right? On other balance teams, we call it double dance. And then this last slot here, interestingly enough, it was the Dragapult here. So before we used to see like Sneasel, Dragapult, King Gambit stuff, which, you know, with like Electabuzz and Rillaboom and whatnot, and then Volcarona was like the other side slot here. But this is almost like a modern adaptation of that Sneasel balance team, because first of all, we don't even have Sneasel on this team, right? But what was interesting on Agati's team was that it was actually Choice Specs Dragapult, right? So this was a special damage nuker, right? Because it had Draco Meteor, right? It had Shadow Ball, U-turn as another, again, that pivot move to reposition the board, and then the Terra Blast, I believe it was Terra Fairy, right? So we'll cover this team a little bit more when we do our Belo Horizonte spotlight, but this was just one idea that Agati was showing us. But again, it kind of plays similarly because, again, you still have ways to set up the Volcarona, but now you can also play the King Gambit direction if you want. All right, so now let me take the other options off the board here. And this one was another one from Pedro, same tour. Again, Belo Horizonte, right? Besides these two, okay, we still had the Basculegion here, right? So we bring that back with adaptability along with the Choice Scarf here, right? So now we still have this Fire Water Grass core going for us. But then the other redirector, it's not Amoonguss, but instead it's going to be Mass Hold with Frangard, and again, it's going to have Super Fang and Follow Me. So now, again, what we're saying is we're looking to create that redirection support to enable the Quiver Dance. And then at the same time, what we want to do is we want to deal Super Fang damage, 50% raw damage. So this way we put things in range for either Volcarona, you know, Heat Waves, or Terra Blast, or Basculegion adaptability stuff. You know, that's definitely going to clean up at 50%. And even Rillabooms here, you know, with their hard-hitting Wood Hammers in terrain or Grassy Glides in terrain, that could potentially pick up some things at 50% as well. So the Mass Hold has pretty good value here. And then after this, then you add just stuff like, you know, Dragonite over here, and then you add Goldengos, right? So Pedro had a pretty cool team as well. Another idea that you can use with Grassy Seed Volcarona. And interesting enough, it wasn't the Tailwind Dragonite. Normally you would want Tailwind, you know, partnered with Goldengo and whatnot. By the way, it was Specs Goldengo, so raw damage with Specs Goldengo. But this Dragonite was actually Choice Band here. So we got Choice Specs and Choice Band on your team, okay? And, you know, it was a relatively standard Choice Band set. It was like, you know, Outrage Extreme Speed with Terra Normal, okay? Then you had Ice Spinner to blow up other terrain, like, Ice Spam stuff. And then the raw Stomping Tantrum damage, right? So this is another way that you can look to play the Grassy Seed Volcarona. A little bit less support, a little bit more aggressive for sure, right? But it still is another way to build with the Volcarona. Now it's just not only the star of the show, we got other stars here now. We got the Specs Goldango, the Bandinite, all right, the Mousehold here, just again, super fang damage, putting things in range for, stuff like E-Speed or Choice Specs Make It Rain. Okay, that's going to be a lot for the opponent to deal with, right? So, and then in the end game, you can just use this. You can just Quiver Dance up and then just clean up after these guys have done all the damage, right? So that's another idea. And if you're interested in any of those two ideas, right, and you want some EV spreads to them, make sure you check out coaching on the channel. Tier 3 sub gets you a one-on-one coaching session with me over Discord, where we get to build these squads from scratch with the full EVs, okay? And then you can test them out in your future tournaments, your future League Cup games, whatever it is you need it for, we can help you out. Again, look in the video description below, as well as in the pinned comment section for that pinned link to join the channel with that tier 3 sub, as well as the tier 4 sub, which again can improve your battling, where you're able to send me showdown replays, and then we can give you feedback, we can correct your play, we can optimize your play. So if you're interested with the team building and the battling critique, that's tier 4 to the channel, okay? But we're going to go back to the way that I was testing in the beginning, and that's going to rely on the other build here with Alolan Ninetales, Incineroar, the Ninetales here, the Incineroar, okay? And then finally, the Yawn Blood Moon Ursaluna that has risen to popularity so much, right? And again, you've seen this already, with like the Sneasel and the Goldango stuff, but this is just another variation to use with the tools that we have right here, right? So now what we're gonna do, let's recreate this team. Let's slap on some EVs and let's test the team from scratch, and let's see how Grassy Seed Volcarona functions here. All right, so for the most part, we're just going to stick to relatively basic spreads here. So with Volcarona, Terra Fairy here, ideally, I'm just going to go modest, right? Modest 36, modest to the benchmark, right? And again, if you're trying to get better at competitive Pokemon and you're not really sure how to create EV spreads, okay, besides the 252 stuff, make sure, again, you comment below asking what are EV bumps. I will reply and respond to you, because they are a very fundamental skill to understand when you're creating EV spreads like this. So for example, 36 is the first bump, 116 is the second bump, and then 196, if anything, is the third bump there, okay? So every 80 EVs after the first bump, you will see the next bump there, or the next jump in your natured stat, okay? But more on that later. If you want to comment, again, ask what are EV bumps and I will answer you, okay? Anyway, we're gonna go to the first modest bump here. We're gonna go max HP here, 192. Again, gonna be relatively bulky here, so this way we can take some hits to set up the Quiver Dance. 192 is an optimal number for Rillaboom Grassy Terrain recovery, because again, we want factors of 16, and 192 is a factor of 16, all right? Then ideally, we're trying to decide a speed tier here a little bit. So I like 100 here. This is already faster than Dragon Knight. If not, you can put it to like another bump here, right? Not bump, I don't want to say bump. Another stat here, 134, just to get a nice even number to equalize your Quiver Dance a little bit. And then you can just put 1 point in the SPDEF and dump the rest here into defense, right? So this way, you have nice even numbers for your special attack and your SPDEF. Otherwise, you can still be content with 133 and add 1 more point into defense. And now you have triple digits in your defense. You have a flat 100, which is, again, a nice even number. After the Grassy Seed, multiplied by 1.1 will give you a nice solid whole number. Because if this is a decimal, then this times 1.5 will give you, again, a decimal, which rounds down. But now, because we have an even number, we're getting a nice solid whole number, best bang for our buck. Now, that means we do have to give up the optimization for the speed just a little bit, but again, I'm still outspeeding the Dragonite, so this way my Quiver Dance can match their Scale Shot, and I can create the pressure, all right? So we're going to use this Volcarona spread. Now, over here, the Rillaboom, so let's just round down here. We're going to have the Assault Vest here, so Fake Out Pressure, Grassy Glide, Wood Hammer, all right? And then, of course, the High Horsepower. Right, and then we'll just go Terra Fire here. Now, usually I like to build my Rillabooms with the Adamant Nature set, but I will give you another build to try out as well. So we were working on this with a fellow client, Miguel VGC, right? And again, we opted to, you know, consider using the Rillaboom as a Jolly set with max speed. And the reason for that is you get to outspeed Goldengo. So this way, if they're afraid of the Volcarona fire attack and they go Terra Water, well, now that just means you're more prone to the Rillaboom Grassy Glide stuff, or even the Woodhammer stuff, right? So you create that pin with these two slots in that sense, right? And then you can outpace them because you outspeed them. So you can go Jolly set, and then after that you can just put 1 point in the bulk stats here. Go about 140 attack here. This is a standard set, and then dump the rest here into HP, and that's really all you need with your Rillaboom here. All right, Basculegion. By the way, you can also slap on a Life Orb onto this if you really want to, but AV is still like pretty solid. Basculegion here. So this one again relatively solid. Wave Crash, Last Respects, Flip Turn, and Aqua Jet. All right, Terra Water is ideal. You can go Adamant here as well. You know, just again a little bit more damage. Ninetales here. This one we're gonna go Snow Warning. All right, we'll have the Sash here. Okay, along with Terra Ghost. And again, like I said earlier, so we can have Blizzard, we can have Aurora Veil for the screen support, Encore to lock opponents into, you know, fake outs or setups for days. They never get to click anything. And then this is just simply a 252 timid set. We do have the Sash at our disposal here. So we'll do something like this. Actually, you know, we can do this. Okay, then you can go into the Incineroar here. So the goggles is nice, right? Safety goggles here. All right, Terra Ghost again, right? So fake out pressure, knock off, parting shot. You can go Flare Blitz here, okay? If you want, you definitely can. But I've seen these teams run Taunt, and it has been actually relatively valuable because you get to deny Trick Room, deny setup, deny redirection from those annoying Indeedis. I think it's very useful, so you can definitely take advantage. I just test with a standard Careful Nature set here. So I'm going to go to the bump, right? Careful 156, dump the rest here, 236 into HP, a little bit of attack there, and then dump the rest here into physical defense, right? A little bit of speed, you know, just for the mirror matchup ideally. Some Incineroars, they just don't run any speed or whatnot. So I still like this solid Careful Nature set. It still lives a lot of things at the end of the day. This Blood Moon Ursaluna, so again, with I like to just go right here at 156 HP. Again, 208, factor of 16 with leftovers and Grassy Terrain Recovery. You get a nice solid even number there. Then I just go modest 116. Again, this is just to the benchmark for the Ursaluna. You can put a little bit of speed here, right? Just about 77. That's all you need, you know, just for a potential mirror matchup here. 1 point in defense is all you need. Dump the rest here in special defense. All right, and now you have a relatively bulky, bear, right? Blood Moon and Earth Power. Okay, no Hyper Voice, obviously. Terra Electric, the Resistance for make it range stuff, and then not a whole lot of ground coverage besides another Ursaluna or the other Ursaluna. Yes, there are the occasional Excadrills, but besides that, Terra Electric just ends up being a really good defensive Terra as well. So I like it. And yeah, this is it. This is a very easy Volcarona Grassy Seed balance team that you can test out in the beginning, right? Very standard, basic EV spreads. You know, things that we want to do with our mons we're accomplishing, right? Outspeeding Goldengo with the Rillaboom. Ursaluna, again, just hitting jumps and optimal numbers with your HP and damage stat. Volcarona, same thing. We outspeed Dragonite and then hit the jump in the special attack. Optimal HP number for terrain recovery, dumping the rest into defense to get full advantage of the Grassy Seed, right? And then Basculegion is just 252. So let's show you some games and let's show you how to enable and create space for the Volcarona. All right, so this player also has a Volcarona and he's got Gyarados too. So he's got his own Fire, Water, Grass Sword. Don't underestimate Gyarados, by the way. It's another decent intimidator that can, you know, kind of sit in front of the Sneasel a little bit there. And you also got some speed control moves with stuff like Thunder Wave and Icy Wind. So don't sleep on the Gyarados, in my opinion, especially in a lower power creep format like this. But anyway, I like Intimidate here because, again, I see a few mons that you can definitely intimidate: Rillaboom, Gyarados, and or Garchomp. Not everything can hold the Clear Amulet. I do see a Mienshao there, right? So yes, we do have to be aware of that if we do decide to bring our own Intimidate. But still, at the same time, I like what we have just in terms of the support for our Volcarona. So I'm gonna go with our Incineroar. I'm gonna go with and Blood Moon here just to try and mitigate a lot of his damage here, and then I'll clean up with the Volcarona if I have to. Right? So we get to intimidate the Chomp. The Gyarados is the one that has the amulet here. So Dragon Cheer into the protected Garchomp there. So very kind of funny already. So there's the amulet removal. There's the Yawn into the Gyarados. So now we can kind of reshuffle the board a little bit. So now we go into Rillaboom here. Okay, Earthquake here from the Garchomp. We weakened that. So there's our good swap there. Okay, Aqua Tail. Good damage, honestly, right? Almost picks up the KO, but now the Gyarados goes to sleep, and the Garchomp now has to make another choice here, right? So Garchomp's going to get drowsy. So now what we can do, so he goes into his own Volk, right? He actually does a double swap here. So now there's our Volcarona here, and then I wanted to just fake out the Chomp to, again, just guarantee the sleep there. And we don't get burned, luckily enough, right? That's always like a little bit of a problem. So he's leftovers Volk. So I'm going to go into Incin here. Again, I'm going to intimidate the Rillaboom here, right? He fakes me out. Again, he also doesn't get a burn. Free Quiver Dance for him. So he gets the jump on the Quiver Dance stuff, right? But still okay. Because, again, we have Incineroar on the field. He goes into Gyarados here, a sleeping Gyarados. That, again, is not going to help him out here because now we can go for our own fake out. And now we can also go for our own Quiver Dance, right? So two Volcaronas going for Quiver Dances here. All right, but the difference is we have the defense boost. So the Gyarados has to take a little bit of a nap. His Volcarona is still going for more Quivers. So are we. And now we can also do a little bit of chip damage with the Instant or go for Parting Shot. I wanted the chip there just to, again, try and put this thing in range. Okay, so no more grass. Again, Volcarona protects. That's fine. All right, that's a free Quiver Dance for me because, again, he's a little scared. Gyarados stays asleep, right? And now we don't get our Parting Shot off because he clicked Protect. But look at this. The Heat Wave pressure is pretty good here. Another Quiver Dance trying to match me, but unfortunately, right, we still have an Incineroar here on the field. Now we can go with the Parting Shot on the Gyarados. Even if he wakes up, it's fine. And now, again, we can get the jump here with the Rillaboom, and more Fake Out is on the board with our Rillaboom here. So I wanted to try and pressure the Volk here. Now the Gyarados is going to wake up here, which is, again, fine in a way. Like, yes, he does get off his Thunder Wave here, which is, again, what we mentioned earlier. But look, what can he really deal the damage here? We have all this Spadef boost, okay? So there's our Grassy Glide. We pressure the Gyarados. We force it off the board. Heat Wave comes out. Down goes Rillaboom. But look how easily we tank that with Volcarona. And now we just wipe him, right? So now he loses his Volk. He loses his Rillaboom. That was his win con, and now he brings in two Pokemon that just get cycled by the Intimidate here from the Incineroar. And don't forget, we still have our defense boost on our Volcarona. So, and we also have Grassy Terrain Recovery. So there's a Protect on the Chomp here. All right, I'm just going to fake out the Gyarados here. Heat Wave comes out. I know that's more than enough to take it out. All right, because again, we are +3 special attack there. And the Chomp can't really do a whole lot anymore. So he has no choice but to forfeit. So even though he did have his Volcarona coming out, we were able to deal more damage and have more pressure on it because we had more fake outs on the board there. And the Gyarados fell asleep because we got the space from the Blood Moon Ursaluna. Alright, so this is a Rain matchup here. Pelipper, Archelon, Basket Legion Rain with Buzz Gambit and Rillaboom as well. Could be Bullet Seed Rillaboom. One could only tell. Again, this was our CTS matchup here. So he's going to lead Rillaboom and his Basket Legion, right? And at the same time, I'm going to read my Rillaboom and my Volcarona. I'm going to get my defense boost here. I have the fake out pressure on the board. I have to go Terra Fairy. I don't want to take heavy damage from the Basket Legion here. He actually just goes for Flip Turn. I could have just easily Grassy Glided that, but he does go into Archelon here. Again, smart play there because, again, he is going to get the defense boost. So good play by him. Not the greatest play by us, especially after the fake out from the Rillaboom. So he wins that opening turn. But now we go into Ninetales here, right? I wanted to see if he goes into Pelipper. He goes Terra Fairy Archelon here. Again, more Quiver Dances here, which means, again, I'm trying to become relatively bulky. He does go for this Bullet Seed like I thought he might try and do. But why did you even Terra in that case? Because now you're just dealing a little bit more damage to yourself. But he goes for the Body Press. We're able to resist that. Okay. We were able to resist that anyway because, again, we had the bug nature there. So now he comes Pelipper here, right? And now I'm just going to keep clicking Quiver Dance, right? And I'm going to keep clicking Encore here because, again, the Body Press, even though it is doing decent damage, it's not enough to remove my Volcarona, okay? And now we get the Lucky Burn, right? So now that helps us a little bit. We go into Basket Legion here. Terra Blast, right, into the Archelon. Again, +2. Still he has the AV. He went into the Basket Legion, so we instantly win that turn. Does click Tailwind, all right? But again, we are relatively bulky on this side. It goes into Rillaboom now, all right? And now we just outspeed and we just go for the Bloom Mouse here, right? So now flip turn, comes back out, go back into Rillaboom, all right? So your Tailwind did not matter for your Archelodon here. Volcarona looks good in this endgame. Basculegion is here. Again, still fine. Just protect here first, right? It goes for the fake out into the Volk, which is fine by us. Another flip turn. How many flip turns can you do? Back into the Pelipper. Again, this is still fine. Grassy Glide here. This is okay. And now, only one turn of Tailwind left, one turn of Rain. Now we can bring in our Ninetales. Now we remove the Pelipper. We have permanent control of the weather. High horsepower, just not enough. Again, we have the defense boost thanks to our own Rillaboom. There's Basculegion. We protect first. Okay, he goes for last respects. This is fine. We had the Sash anyway. Auroraville comes out. Okay, and I could have even just clicked Blizzard here, in all honesty, right? Probably should have. But now we have our own Rillaboom. We have Fake Out. We have Grassy Glide like this. Down goes the Basculegion to the crit. Again, not a huge deal. We missed the Rillaboom here. But again, look how valuable the Veil and the defense boost is. The Volcarona cannot be broken by the Rillaboom. And now he has no choice but to click the forfeit button, right? So, again, another game where we were able to set up the Volcarona. And again, we made it difficult for the opponent to break. We had the screens, we had the defense boost, we had the speed boost, we had everything. All right, so this is a Cyclizar side spam team. I think I saw this once in like an older Victory Road tournament or one of the big Limitless tours. But anyway, ideally, you know, what you could do with the Cyclizar is, again, go for that Shed Tail, pivot behind into the Ursaluna or the Torkoal, and then you just spam your skills behind the sub and in the Trick Room stuff, right? But I still like Volcarona here, right? Because again, what I could do is just keep clicking Quiver Dance, even on turn 1, wall out your special attack damage, bring in Rillaboom, get the fake out pressure next turn, go for more Quiver Dances, protect again, and then before you know it, all your Trick Room is gone, and my Volcarona is like +3. So that's exactly what I'm going to do with our game plan here. So he's going to go Sneasler, and he's going to go Cyclizar here. So he doesn't even lead the side spam stuff. So it's still an easy Incineroar Volcarona lead. They both get intimidated, right? So now he goes into the Indeedee. Good play by him, honestly, right? Because again, he knows the fake out is coming. Enables the Sneasler here. You're still -1, by the way. Goes for Lash Out. No burn. Decent chip on us. But again, Quiver Dance looks good. Okay. Now we just protect first. I want to go into our Rillaboom with a Parting Shot. Close combat here. Looked great. But what he should have done was gone with the Helping Hand in the Indeedee. And I still get the free switch anyway. Right, but now because he didn't do that, I go into Rillaboom here, I get my defense boost, and he clicks Trick Room. This is fine. I'm okay with this, actually. So now we just click Grassy Glide here, because I know he can't break me anyway, right? Psychic into the Rillaboom. Again, we have the AV, doesn't matter. Heat Wave, goodbye Sneasler. So, in a way, I wasn't really scared of Trick Room, because again, I still have Recovery here, and I also had Fake Out Pressure. Here comes Torkoal. This is fine, right? So now we just go into Instant here, give it up here, right? So I can reset. Right, there's the Terrifier. This is fine. All we have to do is to protect first and then, you know, click Fake Out next turn. And then we'll be fine because, again, we have the +1 Spin boost. We have the special attack boost. Right, and again, our Volcarona is still getting recovery with the HP from the Rillaboom. So he has no choice. He has to switch back into the Cyclizar. I'm going to click Fake Out there. Right, and I am going to click Heat Wave. Look how little that Psychic does. But again, another free Quiver Dance. I was not afraid of that Torkoal because, again, I clicked Fake Out into that slot. So now another turn of Trick Room. All right, there's the Grassy Glide. This is still okay. Heat Wave comes out into the Cyclizar, and he can't even Shed Tail anymore. And you know what that means. Now he's just big sad. The Trick Room is over. Volcarona is already enabled, and now he has no choice but to click the forfeit button. Again, creating that space with the Fake Out, boys. That's how you win with this Volcarona. People still love playing Wolf Glick's Perish Trap Rain Team stuff from the last regulation, right? So, I mean, for good reason. So here comes Politoed Incineroar. I'm going to go with Basculegion, and I'm going to go with the Ninetales here, right? So he gets to override my weather. He leads his slower weather here, so good play by him. But he made my Basculegion stronger by doing that, right? So he went for Fake Out into a Ghost type. Maybe he called my Terra Water or something, but I can just do Flip Turn here, and I can reposition the board. Now I get my weather back, right? This is exactly what I was doing. He does click Perish Song now, right? Which is, again, fine by me, okay? Because I'm still going to switch out anyway. I'm going to go into Basculegion now. Okay, he's going to go into Gothitelle here. This is fine. He goes into Art, does a double swap here. So free earth power damage into that instant slot. He chose wrong. He should have switched Gotham to the other slot there, right? So now down to 2 parishes. This is still fine. It does fake out into the Ursaluna. Again, I'm shocked that there was no protect from the Archelodon, right? And then I just take free electroshot damage because I thought he would just protect. I could have just taken that out right then and there, but I get punished for that read and I lose the Basque Legion on that turn. But again, now look at this. Volcarona looks great. He goes into Politoed. We don't care about that. Okay, he goes for Dragon Pulse. I'm very surprised he did not protect there. Okay, because again, he let my Blood Moon get off an attack. That's all I needed from the Ursaluna there. So mismanagement by my opponent, honestly, right? Because now look at this. Now we get the free swap into the Ninetales. Now we go Terra Fairy Volk. Now he protects, right? But a little bit too late because again, free Terra Blast damage. Ninetales clicks Blizzard. We're in the driver's seat. Okay, our Volcarona looks good. We're set up here. His Instant, his Gothitelle, they've all been chipped, right? Volcarona kind of just sweeps here. That fake out doesn't matter because we have a spread move here, so we're always faster than Archelodon here. If you faked out the other slot, then death by Heat Wave anyway, right? So that's pretty much it. Once he switched out the Toad from earlier, we won because the Volcarona was already enabled at that point. Heat Wave, again, we missed the Goth, but it doesn't really matter, right? Because he doesn't have enough damage to break the Volcarona here. And we get the freeze, so that just adds insult to injury. And with that, our opponent has just no choice but to click the forfeit as well. All right, this is some sand stuff with Corviknight here. Rotom Wash also, right? So Wash Rotom, Goldengo, Garchomp. Again, pretty good mons in Regulation A, especially next to Talonflame, you know, with Tailwind, Make It Rain, Tailwind, Earthquake stuff. You got Tyranitar here. This time we got Corviknight here, along with Lycanroc, rather than something like Excadrill, where you're just doubling up on your Steel type here. Lycanroc, very valuable with the Sash, especially with Endeavor stuff. Rock Slide spam is annoying as well. But again, you can't have a clear amulet on everything. So here comes Instant Ursaluna. Again, I love this lead. Garchomp and Goldengo come out here. We get to intimidate the Chomp. We pressure Goldengo. It has to make a choice. He protects Chomp instead. He goes for a trick on the Goldengo. Listen, this is what I was doing. I was clicking knockoff into your Goldengo. I don't know why you did trick over there. Blood Moon into the Garchomp. This is okay. I was fine by this. Now he goes Terra Flying. Clicks Earthquake. This is, again, fine. I know your specs, but look at the damage here. Make It Rain, not nearly enough. Okay, and now you know what comes next. Knock off into Goldengo. Crit doesn't matter, right? Now we yawn the Garchomp. So now you have to make a choice, right? Do you stay in or do you switch? Now he goes into Lycanroc here. Of course, he's going to go into Tyranitar. So this actually works out better for him, right? But we go into Rillaboom here. Okay, because now I know you're just weak to the grass stuff. So there's a Rock Slide. We get the flinch, unfortunately. But, again, we do get our grass type on the field, which is the main thing here. So he goes back into Garchomp here. This is fine. He protects Tyranitar. Usually that thing has an AV, right? But again, we're in CTS, so he has Protect T-Tar there. I'm a little surprised about that, but he does have it. And now we just have to deal with T-Tar Chomp stuff. So he goes for Scale Shop Garchomp, which is again fine by us because we take all 5 hits and we live at the same time. So now guess what happens? Because now we click Woodhammer into T-Tar, and you know what happens to the Chomp? We click the magic button known as Yawn, and he has no way to switch it out. We took out both of his slots. So this Chomp is going to go to sleep, okay? And that's fine by us. And now here's the Lycanroc. This is fine. We're just going to protect Ursaluna here, right? Just click Grassy Glide into Lycanroc. This is okay. And the Lycanroc is down to Sash. They're always Sash, right? And Rillaboom also survives. But again, we still have the sand to take us out. So now guess what happens, right? The Garchomp goes to sleep. Only one slot can attack. We go with Incineroar here. This is fine as well. He clicks Protect there. And now we can get free damage into the Garchomp because he needs to take his first turn of sleep. And that's exactly what we do. We hit him with the hard Blood Moon there, right? The Chomp is nearly fallen. And now at this point, we can sweep with whatever we got in the end game, right? So because I was Scarfed, I forgot I can only click Fake Out there. Not that I needed it, because again, I got Ursaluna here. All I have to worry about is just removing the Lycanroc. All right, I got rid of the Sleeping Chomp anyway, just so that I don't have to deal with him waking up next turn or whatever. And now we just go into Volcarona. This game is over, right? Because now we go Terra Fairy. Rock Slide, that's his only way, just to Rock Slide us for days. But now, again, just free Terra Blast. And that's pretty much it. So again, this was another good Incineroar Blood Moon game. where the yawn stuff was just kind of big for us. All right, one more here. This looks like the earlier idea that we were showing, right? With Dragapult and the Fake Out Bros, but he's got Gambit, and then he's got the Raid mode here. So again, he's got some good mods. I just don't agree with the way he's building around it. I think you're just better doing the Basculegion stuff here. But anyway, so he's gonna go with Rillaboom, and I'm gonna go with Rillaboom, and I'm gonna go with Volcarona. He's gonna go with his Boom, and he's gonna go with his Gambit, right? So he's got his own dancer on the field, but we got a defense boost on Volcarona. It's gonna go into Pelipper here. This is fine by us. Again, I just wanted to fake out, and guess what? We get to click the quiver dance. You didn't click, you didn't stay on the field with your fake out. So that's a free setup for us. That's good news. Okay, because now we can go into our Ninetales, right? Take away that rain, and he goes into our Archelenon. That's fine. And now we can go Terra Fairy. Now we can blast this Pelipper. He does live, right? And he does unfortunately get off his Tailwind, right? But this is still fine. Because again, he does go into his Gambit here, trying to save his weather. Flash Cannon does come into the Ninetales. But again, more Quiver Dance from our Volcarona, right? And I get to get the Veil up here. So that was the main thing. I have the Veil, and I'll trade you every day of the week for Tailwind. So, Electro Shot does get whiffed into the Ninetales. This is fine. Alright, and now you have to take a Heat Wave. So, goodbye Gambit, and now you have Sturdy Arch, right? Your Sash is quote-unquote broken, and you have one more turn of Tailwind, right? So here's your Pelipper. Look how low that thing is, right? Let's just win the Weather War later. Rillaboom comes out. I'm just going to protect Volk here. All right, does go for the Flash Cannon. They always go for the Greed here. Weather Ball, again, good resist by Rillaboom. And now we have Grassy Glide Pressure, okay? And now your Tailwind is gone. So now you have no choice because, again, I just Tailwind the Pelipper. We nuked our Archelenon, and that is going to be GG from there. All right, so that's it. So here's our Grassy Seed Volcarona squad that we remade. And if you're interested in using it, it'll be in the video description below. So try it out yourself. Make any changes that you want, but at the very least, hopefully this gives you a decent starting point. So that way you can try out Grassy Seed Volcarona as well. But yeah, hopefully you guys are enjoying Legends Arceus. I'm sorry, Legends ZA. And like I said earlier, we're going to get our hands on that soon, but we're still going to do a little bit more team spotlight for Regulation H. We still need to recap one more regional, like I said, from Belo Horizonte. But anyway, if you need coaching, make sure you sign up for the channel with that tier 3 or tier 4 sub. Look in the video description below or the pinned comment section. Click the link to join the channel and then message me on Discord, and then we can plan out our one-on-one session where we can get you what you need. All right, but that's it for now, folks. We'll be back with another video in the next one. Peace out and have a good one.